The research vessel drifted through the asteroid field like a ghost ship, and nobody expected what came next. Commander Lisa Grant stood at the observation deck watching the stars blur past when the proximity alarm shattered the silence and her crew scrambled to their stations as something massive appeared on their sensors. The alien vessel was beautiful in a way that human engineering could never match, and its hull shimmered with colors that had no name in any Earth language, and Lisa felt her breath catch as docking clamps extended from the otherworldly ship. 3 figures materialized in the airlock, and the middle one stepped forward with movements that seemed to defy physics, and her skin held the deep purple of twilight skies, and her eyes glowed like molten gold, and she stood nearly 7 feet tall with a presence that filled the entire corridor. The translator device crackled to life, and her voice came through smooth as silk and rich as honey, and she spoke with authority that made every human in the room stand straighter. I am Commander Zara of the Celestial Guard, and we have been observing your species for some time, and you have proven yourselves worthy of contact. Lisa found herself staring, and she forced her eyes back to a professional level and extended her hand in greeting. But Zara looked at the offered hand with curiosity, and then reached out with fingers that were longer and more elegant than any human hand, and the touch sent electricity through Lisa's arm. Your custom is interesting, and I will honor it. And Zara's grip was firm but gentle, and her skin felt warm like sun-heated stone. The other 2 aliens moved forward, and one had skin like midnight blue scattered with points of light that actually twinkled like stars, and her name was Kira, and she moved with fluid grace. And the 3rd alien had copper-toned skin that seemed to shimmer and shift in the light, and she introduced herself as Mara. Lisa's second-in-command was a man named Danny Foster, and he couldn't seem to close his mouth as he stared at the visitors, and his cheeks flushed red when Kira turned her luminous eyes toward him. "We need your assistance." And Zara's expression grew serious. "And there is a threat approaching your system, and your military does not yet have the capability to detect it." "What kind of threat?" And Lisa forced herself to focus on the mission rather than the way Zara's hair seemed to move on its own like it was underwater. "A harvester fleet, and they consume entire planets for resources, and they will arrive in your system within 30 of your days." And Zara moved to the navigation console, and her fingers danced over the controls with practiced ease, and a holographic display materialized showing a fleet of angular dark ships. Lisa felt ice in her veins. "And how do we stop them?" "You cannot, and not alone." And Zara turned back to face her. "And that is why we are here. And the Celestial Guard has fought the Harvesters for centuries, and we can teach you, but your people must be willing to learn and to trust." Danny finally found his voice. "And why would you help us, and what do you get out of this?" Mara spoke for the first time, and her voice had a musical quality that made everyone listen. "And because we were once where you are now, and a species named the Architects saved us and taught us, and now we pay that gift forward." Over the next week, Zara and her team lived aboard the research vessel, and Lisa found herself drawn to the alien commander in ways that confused and thrilled her. And Zara seemed to enjoy her company and sought her out even when mission parameters did not require it. They stood together in the observation lounge one evening, and the stars stretched endlessly before them, and Zara pointed out her home system and described worlds that Lisa could barely imagine. "Your species has such passion and such fire," and Zara's voice was soft, "and my people lost that long ago, and we became efficient and powerful, but we forgot how to dream. You seem pretty capable of dreaming to me." And Lisa smiled. "And you are here after all, and helping strangers." Zara turned, and her golden eyes caught the starlight. "And when I look at you, I remember what it means to want something beyond duty." The moment stretched between them, and Lisa felt her heart hammering, and she reached out slowly, and Zara did not pull away, and their fingers intertwined, and Zara's skin was warm and smooth and felt right. Somehow, meanwhile, Danny had formed an unlikely friendship with Kira, and she taught him combat techniques that seemed impossible. And he practiced daily under her watchful gaze, and she corrected his stance with gentle touches that made him stumble. "You are stronger than you believe," and Kira's voice held approval, "and your species has potential that you have not yet unlocked." Danny wiped sweat from his forehead. "And I feel like a kid learning to walk compared to you. Good." And she smiled, and it transformed her face into something breathtaking. And humility is the first step to growth. The chief engineer was a woman named Amy Park, and she worked with Mara to upgrade the ship's weapons and shields, and Mara's knowledge of technology was staggering, and she explained concepts that would take human scientists decades to develop. Your engines are crude but clever. And Mara examined the reactor core with interest. And you make do with limited resources. And that shows ingenuity. Amy laughed. And that is a nice way of saying, we are primitive, not primitive, and Mara corrected gently and young. And there is beauty in the way young species see problems. And you are not bound by the weight of tradition. As the deadline approached, Lisa called a meeting with her senior staff, and Zara presented a plan that was audacious and dangerous. We will use your ship as bait, and the harvesters will see it as an easy target, and when they commit their forces, we will strike from concealment. And Zara's eyes blazed with determination. Danny leaned forward. And you are risking your lives for us, and why? Because every species deserves the chance to reach for the stars, and Kira's voice was firm, and because courage should be rewarded, not punished. The day of battle arrived, and the research vessel sat alone, in the predicted path, and Lisa felt fear coiling in her stomach, but Zara stood beside her and placed a hand on her shoulder. You will survive this, and I promise you that. And Zara's confidence was absolute, and you are stronger than you know. The Harvester fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel, and their ships were massive and cruel-looking, and weapons powered up with ominous red glows, and the lead ship broadcast a message demanding surrender. Lisa took a deep breath and opened a channel, and, "This is Commander Lisa Grant of Earth, and we decline your generous offer, and you picked the wrong planet." The Harvester ship surged forward, and at that moment Zara's fleet decloaked, and 20 Celestial Guard warships appeared like avenging angels, and their weapons blazed with blue-white fury. The battle was fierce and violent, and Lisa's ship shook under near misses, but Zara commanded the defense with precision and grace, and her voice rang out with orders that her fleet executed flawlessly. Danny worked the weapons console, and Amy kept the shields running, and they fought with everything they had, and the crew performed beyond their limits. Kira and Mara fought from their own ships, and their vessels danced through space with impossible agility, and they carved through the Harvester fleet with ruthless efficiency. The tide turned, and the Harvesters realized they had underestimated their prey, and they began to retreat. But Zara would not let them escape, and her fleet pursued and destroyed every last enemy ship. When silence finally fell, Lisa found her hands shaking, and her crew cheered and hugged each other, and Zara appeared on the view screen with a rare smile. "You fought well, and your species has proven itself today." Lisa felt tears on her cheeks, and "Thank you, and for everything." Zara's expression softened. "And I will return, and we have much to teach you and much to learn from you." The Celestial Guard ships prepared to depart, and Zara transported one final time to the research vessel, and she stood before Lisa in the empty observation lounge. "I do not want to leave," and Zara admitted, "and this is unusual for me." Lisa stepped closer, and then "Stay, and even just for a while longer." Zara reached out and cupped Lisa's face in her hand. "And I have seen 1,000 worlds and fought 100 battles, but I have never met anyone like you." Their kiss was electric and tender and desperate, and when they finally parted, Lisa was breathless. "Come back to me," and Lisa whispered, "and I will wait however long it takes. I will return." And Zara promised, and her eyes shone with something that transcended language and species. "And when I do, we will explore what this means." And together Zara vanished in the transporter beam, and her fleet jumped to faster than light speed, and Lisa watched them go with a hand pressed to her heart. Danny appeared beside her. "And you okay?" Boss Lisa smiled. "And yeah. And I really am. And they gave us a chance, and she gave me something more." The research vessel turned toward home, and Earth would be warned and prepared, and humanity would take its place among the stars. And Lisa knew that this was just the beginning. Somewhere in the vast darkness, Zara stood on the bridge of her flagship and touched her lips where the kiss still lingered, and her crew noticed the change in their commander and the new light in her eyes. The universe was infinite and full of wonders. But she had found something precious and rare and worth fighting for. And she would return.